basically. Hey guys, my name is Erin and this is The Writer's Team. So today I wanted to tell you guys all I know about pen names. So first, we're just going to start with the basics of how to come up with the pen name, and then later in this segment we'll talk about why one would need a pen name. But since you're looking at this video, I'm going to just assume you've already either just set your eyes on a pen name because you want one, or because you've already found the reasons that you need one. So I'm just going to start with the how-to part of this video, if you don't mind. Alright, so first thing that I want to think about when it comes to pen name, because I've helped many people come up with pen names, the first thing I consider is the names that you like as a child, because usually we all go through some type of phase where we don't like our first name or our last name or our middle name. It's always something. There's always a name we wish we had or think would have suited us better. So this is one of the first things I look to when I am trying to help someone else or myself come up with a pen name. So these could be names like Alex, Brittany, Jenna, Carlos, Erica, Amanda, quite a few names, As you can see, those are also simple names, and I'll probably get around to telling you guys why I use those names specifically later in the video. Alright, the second thing I consider when coming up with pen names is thinking of characters from TV shows. I like to think about Charmed specifically because Phoebe's name is amazing, and it's a pretty basic name, and almost everyone can spell that name just by hearing it, because it is a well-known name, not like a popular top 10 name, but everyone can pronounce it, and things like that. So yeah, it's also just a good way to get inspired, because sometimes you're watching TV shows and these characters have good names, but they're not used a lot, so that's how they pretty much become famous. So that's one thing to consider. I mean, I thought it was pretty good. Let's see, you got Phoebe from Charmed, you have Sabrina from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. You can obviously see what type of TV shows I watch. But yeah, try looking at the shows you watch, whether it be like TV shows or anime. Try looking at some of those names. The third thing I think I consider is the meaning and symbolism. I think everyone goes through this step when coming up with the pen name or anything in general. So you want to, if you found a few names just from the prior two steps, or any at all that you've been considering already, I would definitely recommend Googling the name. Why? Because you want the name to have a good meaning, unless it's like a literal name like Flora, then obviously the first association and the denotation is going to be something with flowers, okay? But for names, like I mentioned before, you might want to make sure that it has a good name. If you want a strong sounding name, Leo's probably a good name, because Leo, Leon, Lion, that's how that works. Also, for some reason when you say Leo, a lot of people think of zodiac signs, so that might be a good thing. So yeah, you want to make sure it means something positive. And if you're choosing a name in a language that you do not speak, or has an origin in a language that you do not speak, again, you should definitely be asking someone if it means what you think it means. And I'll give you my example of that when I tell you guys the pen name I came up with for future books I write in genres outside of fantasy. 5, you can only change your last name or your first name. You can change one of your names, aka using your real first name and a fake last name. And this is probably the simplest way of going about finding a pen name. You still get the anonymity behind it, not as much exposure as you would have with your like normal social media accounts and things like that. So I definitely think if you're looking for a quick and easy way to find a pen name, that is definitely the route to go. 6, steal your family's name. there's so much thing to consider when naming things. So basically what I did when coming up with my pen name, the first name in my pen name is Kaya. My cousin, my younger cousin, I think she's like 15, 16 now. Her name is Akaya. I chopped off the part and I just used Kaya, and I thought it sounded really pretty, and it was very simple, and it had the right amount of letters in it that I was searching for, and it had a positive meaning. Because yes, even though I know her name, I did still Google it a few times through a few different pages to make sure I was just hitting all my bases. Okay, 7, keep it timeless. Elizabeth has been a name for God knows how many years now. What are other names that have been around for like a really, really, really long time? There's a lot of Ericas in the world. I've met a lot of Maribels as of recently. I don't know how that happened. Everyone knows someone named Tom or John or Alex or Alexis, things like that. So those are pretty much timeless names. They will always be around. Everyone will pretty much always know how to spell them, and it's just always going to be there. I mean, it's a popular name, but it works. I mean, you might not be as rememberable with this type of popular name, since timeless names tend to be really, really popular. But it's a name. Maybe if you pair it with something like unique for the last name, then you'll be okay. My final tip is alliteration, and I did use this for my pen name, but as I'm not ready to 100% give you guys my full pen name, I will just give you some famous people examples, and that would be Marilyn Manson, Joanne Jett, Ozzy Osbourne. That's MMJJOO. First letter of the name matches the last letter of the first letter of the first name is the same letter as the good God. Both of the names start with the same letter. Both of the names start with the same letter. And yeah, so that can cause for the name to sound really smooth off of the tongue. It makes it easier to remember, and it just sounds nice. It's just a good thing to go by. Now, what I'm about to tell you is not really like a solid fact or anything. It's just something that I notice when I am looking at book covers. Ironically, when I'm looking at book covers, I noticed that the first and last name are usually the same length. And I'm talking about for people who actually have like their first and last name on there, not like J.K. Rowling where it's like initials in the name. I'm talking about people who have like 2 full names on their cover. These names usually tend to be the exact same length or a letter or more off. Like Marilyn Manson, as I just said, those are pretty much the same amount of letters, or if you put them on a book cover, they're like the same length. And this, you can also tell this a lot because sometimes on book covers the name is like kind of stacked up and it makes this nice little symmetrical pyramid type thing, and it just makes the book cover look so much better. And I think one of the reasons I noticed this is because I was finding it really hard to get my real name on my covers. I'll tell you my name again. My name is Erin McMillan. So my last name is twice as long as my first name, and it is very hard to get my name to look very good on a cover without it overtaking it, and it doesn't look good symmetrical. And for you, if you don't know this already by some stroke of luck, symmetry tends to make things more beautiful. Subconsciously, if things are symmetrical, we tend to think that they are very attractive, nice, and beautiful. It's something that we look for. So I would definitely consider keeping that in mind when coming up with a pen name. If not for, it sounding good, then at least for making your book cover look just that much better. All right, moving into the second segment of this video, But why do I need a pen name? Maybe you don't want all the exposure that comes with publishing a book that you hope to be a best-selling novel or a New York Times bestseller. Maybe you don't want the world to know that you're writing erotica or the next 50 Shades of Grey. Like, it's not something you look forward to, so you decide that you want to use a pen name. Another reason is that you want to write more than one genre, and you want to publish multiple books. For instance, I plan on publishing my next few books and my prior books. I published all with my real name, and all of them have been fantasy up to this point. Now, after my 5th book, I'm going to change and go into Kaya Koharu, which is the name I came up with, which is like... Okay, so the meaning of that is basically the warmer days of, freezing cold winters, like the okay days of winter, not the harshest days, one of the nice days of winter. So, yeah, that's what that pretty much means. But, yeah, if I'm probably going to use that pen name for when I start publishing more romance novels and things of the like. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be using Kyle Kaharu for romance and my real name for my fantasy novels. And I am kind of excited to make that switch. So, another thing is, as I kind of already covered, is feeling like it doesn't look right on the cover. Again, that goes back into that whole symmetry thing I was talking about earlier. Feeling like it doesn't look right on the cover and it's not really helping or popping out, or you just have a really common name and it doesn't feel right, I just recommend going with your gut feeling, because that's probably the best thing for you and you'll feel a lot better for it. And finally, you don't want everyone to know about your sappy romance, gothic literature, cheesy stuff. So I'm guessing this has to do with more of the way you appear to other people, not like colleagues, more like your friends and your family stuff, Sometimes you want to present yourself in a certain way and it just doesn't work, But yeah, that's pretty much all the tips I got for God. Those are all the tips I have for coming up with a pen name and what to consider. I hope this video helped you. Like this video if you like it. If you want to support me, I will link my books down below, The Days Are on Felt and The Realm Painter. I will also link my social media and my websites. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a good day and happy writing as usual. Bye.